Well, hey there, it's that coding guy here, breaking it down and making it accessible. Let's talk about practice problems for Java, or maybe Python. This is CodingBat, and CodingBat was created by this guy named Nick Parlante. He is a lecturer over in Stanford, and he's created a bunch of practice problems for simple Java, your basic foundational logic and arrays and string operations. So let's check it out, because I've been teaching Java to students for years, and this is one of the best resources I have found to get them up and going and tackling small problems right away. So let's check out the warm-up section, and we'll take a look. So each one of these is a different problem to work on. And generally, the easiest one is at the top left, and the difficulty goes down the column. So the one down here is more difficult than this guy, and then start on the next column and go down. And so the hardest problem on this page would be the one at the bottom right. And there are these different sections. So my advice would be, if you're just starting out in Java, go through warm-up 1 and 2. Skip string operations, dig into logic 1 and 2, and then hit arrays. And once you do that, you're pretty much good to wander wherever your heart takes you. But that would be my advice for just starting out. These are a little tricky to understand the first shot, so let's dig into one and we'll break it down. Each problem starts with the actual problem you're trying to solve, and then it gives you examples of what's going to happen. And what it's asking you basically to do is to implement this method. So it's asking us to create a method that's going to return a Boolean, right? That's a return type. And right up here, the problem says, hey, return true if we sleep in. And that's explained. And then we've got these parameters. We've got a Boolean called weekday and a Boolean called vacation. And then this is showing examples of what our logic should return once it's set up. So if sleep in is called with false and false, meaning weekday is set to false and vacation is set to false, the result of the method should return true. And if it's passed in with true for weekday and false for vacation, we should get false, and so on. And so let me just throw return false in here out of the gate and hit go. And this is going to run the code that we've written. And here's the interesting part, because the code behind the scenes called this method 4 times, right? And it called the method 4 times with different values for each of these parameters. And this is the results that it's showing us. So when sleep in was called with false and false, we didn't get the right answer. When it was called with true and false, that was right. And these were also wrong. So, you can change your logic here and try to implement that so that we get the correct answer. And then once you've gotten it solved, then you're going to get a check mark here that's going to light up in green, and you'll know that you've successfully completed that guy. And then you can move on to the different problems there. So it's really important when we are writing our own code like this to think of, especially methods in particular, to think about what's going to happen when they get called with different permutations for their parameters, right? Well, if I get this passed in and that passed in, what's it going to do? We need to make sure that we understand that. And typically, once you get more advanced, you'll be writing unit tests that actually do this kind of thing. They calls the method with different input to make sure it's doing what we expect. So for now, this is a fantastic way to get going, practicing your fundamental programming knowledge, and get going. and practice, because a lot of this is about practice. The more you repeat things, the more the tools get ingrained in your mind. And I think about loops and if statements and all those other things as tools in our toolbox. And the more we practice them, the easier it's going to be to recognize a problem and be like, I need to use a loop here, or oh, I need to use an if statement here. So that's CodingBat. Good luck. Cheers. Oh, and I think it's highly unlikely that Nick will ever see this, but if you do, you're a legend, sir, and I want to thank you for having this site up over the years and implementing it, because I think it has helped so many people, and I know I am one of them, so thank you.